So, I mean, now that can happen,
Of course.
but if you get excited
Mm-hmm.
and you start buying property, just believing you're going to have this transformation and you're going to be able to have
Without
that
any
experience,
knowledge,
yeah,
without
and
any.
do that, then
Yeah.
you would set yourself up for
Mhm.
a lot of heartache. And we've seen it. We've seen people invest that way and get in over their heads. We've actually purchased properties where other investors, new investors, purchased and got in halfway or three-quarters of the way complete,
Mhm.
and they had to sell,
Mhm.
unfortunately,
Because they try to take on too much too soon. And we always say, if you're a newbie, I'll go back to what I said before. The business is very doable. You can do
Right,
this
absolutely,
business.
absolutely.
And there's so many layers in the business and different ways and strategy that you can use to build wealth. Now, one of them is doing a major renovation. We strongly would recommend that you stay away from any major
for the first
renovations
deal.
for your first
Yeah.
deal until you understand the business, because there's expenses that you may not know about, like carrying cost and the cost of materials and cost of hiring your subs and all that. There's a lot
And
to
the availability of labor,
juggle.
the availability in the time frame. Sometimes it's not so much that you couldn't do it. It's we went through this thing last year
Mhm.
when the prices of building material skyrocketed.
Mhm.
I mean, it was just unbelievable. And then there was even a problem with just delivery, transportation. So a lot of stuff was not in stock or was taking longer to get. Well, that related directly over to the time frame it would take for you to complete a project.
Mhm.
So where you thought you were going to do it in a month
Mhm.
or 2 months, it took 5 months, and there's carry costs related to that.
Mhm.
So we one of the things that we've done with the process that we put in place and what we teach and coach on is simplified process that you use every time that lets you check all these boxes so that when you evaluate the property to see if it's a good deal or not, which you can do very quickly actually, then that determines if you want to move forward. And that is the first thing you have to be able to do. Figure out, have your process that will allow you to evaluate a deal to let you know if it's one that you want to move forward.
Yeah, I mean, you bring something else to mind. And I want to ask you guys, is any of this resonating with you? Investing in real estate and getting that cash flow, and having the tax advantages. And we haven't even talked about retirement. We'll go into that in a second. But Rod and I, no, any investing is a risk, right? Anytime you invest in anything, it's a risk. But we've been very careful and smart about not taking on risky deals, right? There's a difference between a risk, because it is an investment, and taking on something that's very, very risky. And so we've learned over the 25, 30 years, however long we've been doing this, which has been a long time, how to evaluate a deal like that. That comes from experience. And that's experience that we're passing down and teaching people that, hey, because there was nobody there to hold our hand. There was nobody there to teach us. We had to learn it on our own. So we fell down, got back up, skinned our knees, and went back at it, because we knew that this business would bring us the wealth that we needed for ourselves and our family. But yeah, so no risky deals. No risky deals, solid deals that make sense, that cash flow, that are sustainable, So
and the deal doesn't look there are always deals. There are always deals. Listen to what we're saying. There's always deals. High interest rate, low interest rate, a hot market, a cold market, any market, there's always deals.
I always say the deal of the decade is, you can find it every week.
Yeah. Deal of the decade is every day. You can't. Look, one of the things we do, we won't do it today in this, but one of the things we do in our upcoming sort of training and stuff that we do is we show you actual deals, some of our deals. We show you some things that probably your mouth will drop with what we will show you with things over the span of 3 decades that we purchased, the places that we purchased them in, and we've had some very premium properties that we purchased, pennies on the dollar. Okay, in Atlanta, in Northern Virginia,
in Alabama,
DC, in Washington D.C.,
Maryland.
So all these, Virginia, of course. So
Virginia's our favorite. Yes, Hampton Roads is our favorite.
I don't think I told everyone in the beginning that we're both Virginia natives.
Love
So
Virginia.
we're natives of Virginia. Virginia is for lovers. That's probably why we're here, because we love each other so much.
Exactly.
But yeah, so we do like Virginia. Virginia's a great market for us. We've got so many great deals.
The best markets, the boring markets. And I'm not saying Hampton Roads is boring. I'm just saying it's not New York. It's not, some of these, well-known buzzing cities. Some of the best real estate deals come out of the most boring markets because you get a little bit of both sides of the real estate. Because sometimes you'll find an investment that is good on the appreciation side, like the prices go up. And then sometimes you'll find one that's good on the cash flow side, right? That you get a lot of cash flow of it. It may not be appreciated in value every year, but the daggone cash flow looks amazing.
Yeah.
And so I think Hampton Roads a hybrid. It has kind of both, especially over the last few years when everything appreciated so much.
And one of the other things we show, and this one is just when the market collapsed in 2008, when things went the way they did, in 2009, 2010, shortly thereafter, after it started to rebound, we actually purchased properties for as little as $1,700. This is now $1,700 for a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house in East Point in Atlanta, Georgia, right outside of the city. So, and that was just one of many. We purchased property for $4,700, $6,700, $19,000, $25,000. So these were all deals that we were buying from banks during that time. That was when the market had collapsed and people was like, boom and boom. And agony on me, you know what I mean? it was so bad, but we were just, it was just a great time. Yeah. The only thing that we wish we could have done back then is had more cash available.
Yeah.
Amen. And we did. But,
so I'm going to ask you guys, do you know of any other benefits to owning real estate? Put it in the chat, write it down on a piece of paper, think about it in your head. But the next one we're going to talk about, we touched on a little bit, was retirement. Right? A lot of people have fear of the future.
And before they get to retirement, let's let them now. If you've got questions, type those in the chat as well. So that way we'll answer theirs as we get to the end. We can look at the questions and get it. Go ahead.
100%. Yeah, I mean, some people are approaching retirement age, not really sure what they're going to do. But imagine if you purchase real estate, hung on to it, and then when you're ready to retire, you can cash out, not sell. Because we talk about that too. Some people can. I mean, selling is not bad, but why sell it if you can get the money out of it? Keep it. Right. We teach you how to do that too. We teach you how to tap into the equity where it's not taxed, and you get to use that equity, either buy more real estate or whatever you want to do with it. Right. But to have that property, I like to call them little cash cows in your portfolio when you retire. Okay, so you got a little money from your 401k or from something else. But wouldn't it be
from Social Security? But anyway,
that's right. I forgot about Social Security. Right? Maybe you'll buy a loaf of bread or something. I don't know.
If you get anything.
If you get anything, but you have that asset that's giving you that cash flow every month to fund you during your retirement times. And I think also we talk about how real estate is a hedge against inflation because as inflation goes up, the cost of housing goes up and the rent goes up. So it's always a tool that's increasing in value, and you can charge more rent too. So it'll sustain you throughout the time of your retirement. Just knowing that that's there has got to give you a level of comfort to know I got this rental property or 2 or 3 or 4, however many it takes to flow the cash that you need for your retirement. Everybody's amount is different, but you figure out how much you need, and then that'll just tell you how many little red houses or little hotels or 4-unit buildings or whatever that you need for your retirement.
Another, and we'll share this, and this is a story that we know very well because it's a family member, but we have a brother and sister brother-in-law sister that actually bought a house years ago in San Diego. And most of you know San Diego is a super, super, super expensive area. Even 27 years ago it was expensive. And I think just roughly, giving it some sort of idea, I think back then they paid like $160,000 for this pretty nice house in a pretty nice little neighborhood, a little 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, probably about 1,900, 2,000 square feet. And they had taken really immaculate care of it over the years, had landscaped and done a lot of things to it. Well, probably not even 2 years ago, a developer approached them because they were just buying up properties in the area and offered them for this house over $700,000.
Imagine if they had 2 or 3 of them.
$700,000. Now, they didn't know anything because fortunately they had pretty much paid it off.
Yeah.
So you're talking about they're at retirement age. He's retired. She's retired. They were not doing bad or anything. I think they had made some provisions and were doing fairly well. But now you have an opportunity to sell a property that you've had over that span of time for 6 times the value or 5 times the value in less than 30 years. That's huge. So needless to say, they sold. They sold, went up to wine country, went up a little further north and built a new house, paid a couple $100,000 less than they got. They netted out some cash. They got a brand new place. They're happy they're just ecstatic. And I think that's just a perfect example. And that's one property.
That's one property. That's the power of real estate. I always say, imagine if they had purchased a couple more.
Wow.
And just hung on to them and rented them out and had the tenant pay down the rent and let the property appreciate. They would have had, if they had purchased 2 of them, their residents and 2 others, that would have been 3 properties that would have increased in value to that degree.
Yeah.
So that would have been 700 some thousand times 3 instead of 1. And that's the power of real estate, guys. It is such an exciting business. We love it. Don't ever be afraid of it. Just get the education. The education is there.
That's it.
Get the education, get the understanding, jump over the fear, step on the fear.